guess what we're going to learn about today? We're going to learn how to scan the poem the right way. So when scanning a poem, we use different literary devices such as rhyme scheme or a meter or enjambments to scan the poem and mark it up.
So if we first look at rhyme scheme, start by lettering the first line with an A, and then you go to the second line and look and see if that rhymes with the first line, and if it does, then you put another A, and you continue to mark with an A until you find a word that doesn't rhyme. So on the third line, guile does not rhyme with lies or eyes, so we're gonna put a B. And same for the fourth line because smile and guile rhyme. When we get down to the fifth line, that rhymes with neither smile or eyes, so we put a C. And we're gonna just continue that pattern throughout the rest of the poem. So here's rhyme scheme for the entire poem, and as you can see, we kept the same letters from the first stanza and just followed them through for the rest of the poem. So the next thing we'll look at is meter. So we just take a look at the first line. If you just kind of say it normally, you can figure out where the stresses and unstresses are in your voice naturally. So we wear the mask that grins and lies. To find the meter, we can stress that even more so that it's easier to see. We wear the mask that grins and lies. So we can mark our stresses and unstresses. So we wear the mask that grins and lies. And then we can see that since the meter is the same throughout the line, we can just divide it up evenly into the different feet. And that's meter. Okay, so when we follow the same pattern of marking meter like we did for the first line, this is how it looks for the entire poem, and it's the same throughout the entire poem with our unstresses being the little U and then our stresses being the little slanted line. But if we look at the last line of this first stanza, we see that in order for the line to follow the pattern that it's been following, we have to make what's called an elision right here at myriad. So we mark that like that, so that this can be the unstressed in the pattern. Without the elision at myriad, then myriad becomes a 3-syllable word instead of the 2-syllable word that we need it to be to fit into the pattern. Okay, so now that we've determined the meter for the different lines of the poem, we can find the meter for the entire poem. So we can tell that this poem is iambic because there's unstressed, stressed in each foot, and there are about 4 feet per line, except for this line and this line. But that's where the poet is exercising poetic license. So we can say that the poem's meter is iambic tetrameter. Okay, so the next thing we'll look for are enjambments. So here we see there's an enjambment because there's a thought carried over from one line to the next with no punctuation or pause. So we mark an enjambment like this. And then we just keep doing that throughout the rest of the poem. There are 2 more places where there's an enjambment, right here and right here.
This video is sponsored by the Fab Five.
Mo Money, T Swizzle, Canelli, K Swish, and Shavane.